when it does come to running, right? We've talked to a few people that are runners on the podcast, and they don't really care about the way they breathe. They don't care if it's nasal. They don't care if it's through the mouth. And I know we've talked about nasal breathing before, but just so that some people can understand, what would you have people pay attention to when it comes to their breathing, nasal versus mouth?
So they're both useful tools. And the thing you need to understand to kind of decode this, because I've seen on social media recently, you guys know I'm not huge into it, but I see all the time people are saying, you have to do this, you have to do that, this is bad, this is wrong, so on and so forth. That's not the case. The body's always going to do its best to prioritize oxygen saturation. So whether you nasal breathe or mouth breathe, you can still attain those two goals. That's the first thing you need to keep in mind. But we're getting to there in a different mechanism. When you nasal breathe, we're biasing elasticity of your vessels to kind of open up and to get more oxygen utilization from the blood, because you're actually taking in less, obviously. It's a smaller breath. Whereas if you're mouth breathing, those vessels aren't opening up to the same degree, but you're taking in a lot more oxygen. So it's almost like selecting, are we looking for efficiency or a quick change? And then that's just right now, but we can also talk about training adaptation. So maybe if you're a marathon runner, your shorter runs should maybe be nasal breathing based, so you can train that blood vessel change. And maybe you're doing one of your longer distance runs, you should probably incorporate a good amount of mouth cyclic breathing that goes with your cadence. So if you're running fast, you should have a faster breathing cadence. You're running slow, you should have a slower breathing cadence.
And when you talk about that cadence, do you mean like, is that what you like?
Exactly. So maybe like, let's say we're sprinting, it's going to be, I'm sorry if that was too loud,
good.
but
No, you're fine.
It's going to be very, very quick and rhythmic like that. And you're timing that exhale with the forceful ground contact time of your foot. But let's say now you're running a marathon, you're halfway through, second, third, maybe one of your slower pace miles. It might just be a couple of steps actually per breath. So it might be, and in that time, based on your speed and cadence, you might have gotten in 3 to 6 steps.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I found that the breathing and just being able to calm myself down to be really important. And then also something that people might want to note is that I think that sometimes it's not a bad idea to like force things here and there just so you can kind of make progress and so you can get used to certain things. However, what I've learned through the process of working on nasal breathing, if it's too forced, you end up over breathing anyway. So it just happens to be through your nose rather than through your mouth. It's harder to overbreathe through your nose. Somebody might even say it's kind of like impossible, but if you start to try to like open up the nasal passages more and you use like nasal strips or you pinch your nose and you are able to take in more air, I don't think that's the point of nasal breathing. I think the point of nasal breathing is to try to put a little bit of a governor on your training and to allow you to train in maybe a different heart rate zone and so forth.
Pretty much bang on, yeah. So like, for example, it's not just heart rate that matters, it's also blood pressure. So if you've ever done something and like you feel like your heart's pounding, but you took the number and it was only like 86, it's not, you don't have sensations for your heart rate. People love to think that they can just breathe their heart rate down, and it's indirect that you can do that, but it's not automatic. You don't just get to do that. So most sensations that have to do with your heart pounding are actually blood pressure. So we could realistically say that you're actually getting more blood pressure like adaptations through that nasal breathing. And now if you can run with the same heart rate but a slightly lower blood pressure or maybe a slightly higher blood pressure, you can manage that through running.
Now,
or through breathing and running, rather.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. Do you care, because we talk about sleep all the time. We actually just talked about it with Jake and Joe. But with the amount of professional athletes you work with, do you care if they're snoring or breathing through their mouth when they sleep? Is that something that you try to have them do, or how do you deal with that?
I actually have it as a criterion marker. If you snore just because of positioning, maybe you just pass out in a weird spot. I don't hate it. But if you're snoring because your anterior neck or maybe some of the nerves in your face are so tight that you can't have actual mechanics and locomotion like properties of your mouth, jaw, neck, lungs, then I have a problem with that.
Okay. And how do you have them, like, how do you have people work on that or fix that?
So really simple. You can just release these anterior neck muscles, your sternocleidomastoid. A lot of times I'll do supra-occipital and trochlear nerve releases of the eyes and near the scalp, and that takes care of all that for them.
Okay.
Yeah, and you were showing me some of that stuff, just basically putting pressure kind of around the eyebrows, pressure around the neck, and you can actually like grab some of these like cords around the neck, and you can kind of pull on them a little bit. You can get a ton of relief, especially for people that are, I think people are a lot tighter in some of these areas than they might think. And when they first do like a little massage therapy on there, I think they'll be shocked that at the results they'll get.
Yeah, so I don't even, for example, when I work with the golfers, a lot of times I'm with them all day. Like we'll start at 7:30 in the morning. We'll do a little priming session for their brain and nervous system. They go out and play. We do some restoration work and then put them to bed at night. Just like a little baby. I do these little rib releases, face releases and stuff, take their heart and oxygen rates before and after. Now I've seen people's heart rates drop like 14 beats in like 2 to 4 minutes of just doing this stuff. And then boom, they pass out and go to sleep.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, go ahead and comment down below and let us know what you liked about it. All right. Share this with a friend. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And also, we are on Reddit and Discord. All that's down below. All our sponsors and everyone that supports us down below there too. So you can get whatever you like from us. All right. Peace.